Here's the Deal is brought to you by VEBS, Veteran Essential Business Services. We are your business air support. We have your six. You served your country faithfully. Now it's time to blaze your own path. Here's the Deal is a show for veterans by veterans to discuss real world issues on how to start and run your own business. It's a cross between Dave Ramsey, Maria Bartiromo, and Joe Rogan. This is not academia, it's the truth. Here's the deal. Here's the Deal is proud to present our very first sponsor. It's B&G Chicago Catering. If you're in the mood for fresh, authentic Chicago style favorites, check out B&G Chicago Catering. Founded by two Marine vets, and no, there's no crayon flavors involved here. B&G Chicago Catering is professional mobile food cart service, well suited for large crowds and intimate gatherings. Currently serving the Metro Phoenix and Metro Tucson areas. B&G Chicago Catering will drive up to your next event, business storefront, or private party. Chicago classics like Chicago dogs, my personal favorite is the Italian beef, bratwurst, Polish sausage. They got tamales and more. All their food is made to order, hot and fresh, using only Vienna products. B&G Chicago Catering comes fully equipped and takes care of all the cleanup. So if you're looking for a way to give back to your employees and all the efforts they've been putting forth this year, need a last minute option for a small intimate birthday party, need to spotlight your storefront reopening, which hopefully they all get there soon, check out B&G Chicago Catering. You can find them at www.bgchicagocatering.com. You can follow on Instagram at BG Chicago Catering 520. Give them a call at 520 262 7596. Hey, everybody, what's going on? This is your host, Chris Flowers of Here's the Deal. Just came back from a nice little short weekend. Went up to Sedona, Arizona, and Flagstaff. Got to play in the snow with the wife and the kids. Myself, personally, I grew up in Connecticut, so I grew up around snow and sled riding and snowball fights and like that. You know, for my wife, my kids, they're born and raised in Arizona. You know, my kids are teenagers now. My son's going to be a teenager coming up here, so my daughter's already a teenager. She's 13, going on 25. And so we got to, have a really good time going up there and playing in the snow. And just to get away, from everything. And I kind of motivated me. I was sitting out there, and we had a nice little suite out there, and had a nice little porch. I'm sitting there. I get excuse me. I get up in the morning, and of course I'm up at like freaking dark 30 and shit, and everybody's still asleep. But I get up, I drink my coffee, I pray, I read my Bible and everything, and then but I just really just like was being like appreciative, I guess I say. It's being able to go up there and take the time and have fun with the kids and enjoy it, and just I mean, it wasn't completely like unplugged. I still like my phone and everything, but I wasn't like checking it constant, and, like returning a bunch of emails. Like I just left all that crap alone. So that's what Monday's for, and it's taken me a long time to adjust to that. It's taken me some time, especially especially if you guys are out there now and you're starting a business, or your business is still in like growth mode and everything. You're so focused on the mission, right? You're so like every waking moment, like 24/7, 365 is like, the mission, right? Okay, get the business, what, production, or getting new clients, or, meeting this deadline, getting this out, of course. I mean, that's always, that's how you make money. So, I mean, it's obviously definitely important, right? But at the same time, you can only run in the red for so long. You can only burn that candle at both ends for so long, and you're going to get burnt out. I know, like I said, we're taught to, drive on, push through everything, just keep on rolling. And, for us veterans, we do that. We're trained to do that. We've done it. And especially now that we're starting our own business, or working for ourselves and like that, or maybe we have some employees, and people are relying on us for their paycheck to feed their kids, and it's a real thing, but at the same time, again, maybe this because I'm getting a little older. Can't even believe I'm going to say I'm going to be like 50 this year, which is just nuts. You think and you reflect back, and and it's like when I told my wife 20 years ago, going on 20 years together, it's, again, another crazy thing to think about. I told her a long time ago when we first met. I grew up broke. I grew up in Connecticut, but it wasn't like, who's the boss, like the nice part of Connecticut. I grew up right next to the Bronx. So let's just say it wasn't all silver spoons and shit, say the least. won't get into those details, but I had PTSD before I even joined the military. But anyway, so I told my wife, I was like, look, you want to go somewhere on vacation, or you want to, when I was a kid, we didn't do Disneyland. We didn't do, I was worried about, we were worried about we're going to eat today. I mean, that's, how I grew up, right? So it wasn't like, we're like, oh, let's plan this family vacation. And plus, Pop was a Rolling Stone and all that other shit. And like I said, other stuff we're not going to even get into. But it wasn't like we were thinking about, oh, where's our family vacation going to be this year? And none of that factored in, right? We just worked, all right? And I joined the military and this and that. So I didn't really, I still remember when I first started dating my wife, we did. I told her, go back to the subject. I told her, if you want to go anywhere, you want to do anything, I'll pay for it, but you got to plan it. Because I'm not thinking vacation. I'm thinking I got to go to work. I'm thinking I got to get this done. So I'm not thinking of that nature. My mind doesn't process that. Okay, so you're going to have to say, you need to take this date off to this date because we're going here. And I'll just say, okay. You just tell me, what the mission objective is, you tell me, and that's where I'll be. So it's like, I don't plan these things. My wife plans all these trips. Again, I told her that a long time ago, and she just does it, right? So she'll say, okay, we're going to go to, we knew it was going to snow. So, okay, we got to take the kids up in the snow. They haven't been in the snow in a minute. So, she planned the whole trip. She took care of the hotel. She took care of, all that kind of stuff. And it was great. I said, I think it's a lot of factors. I know part of it's because I'm getting older. I guess I can appreciate some things. But I remember one of the first times we ever went somewhere, it was before we had kids, or like that. We went to San Diego, right? Now, I'm, like I said, again, I'm just go, right? Especially back then, Jesus Christ, 20 years ago, forget about it, right? I'm 30 years old. I mean, you couldn't hold me down for like 5 seconds, right? So we went to San Diego. She still gets mad when I tell the story. She's like, that sucked. So went to San Diego. We're sitting there on the beach, right? Oceans, breeze is blowing in, the ocean's rolling and all this stuff. We're sitting on the beach. I swear to God, I think we were there for like 3 minutes at the most. And I was like, okay, we done? Let's go do something. She's like, we just got here. I'm like, yeah, okay, I seen it. All right, we're cool. And I was like ready to just move on to something else. I couldn't just sit there and be, okay? I couldn't just sit there and chill. Especially not then. Especially not when I was 30. I'm like, I was just go, right? It was insane. So I look back at it now like, damn, I wish I still had that energy. But see, I think that's the thing. It's like we're so mission orientated. We're so focused on, okay, what's the next objective? What do we got to do? Where we got to be? And especially now, like I said, when you start a business, it's like you have to be that way because nobody else is going to do it. If this thing's going to succeed, it's going to be you busting your ass. So this is where it's a good point. I mean, it's good to have that drive and that grit and that motivation, and we're gonna push through, and it doesn't matter. But at the same time, you got to think the long game too. You got to factor these things in. You got to factor in the long game. You're not indestructible. You're not. Maybe like me. When I was 30, yeah, go. Now 50, no. It ain't quite as there as it once was. Like the song by Toby Keith says, I ain't as good as I once was. I'm as good once as I ever was, but I ain't as good as I once was, all right? So you got to factor, if you can factor these things in and make it a conscious effort, okay, I need some downtime. I don't, and it doesn't have to be going on a vacation or going to Disneyland or whatever. It's whatever's gonna get your battery recharged, right? Just take a step back, and I mean it could be maybe it's doing art or something. You might be you might want to do some art or something, or you might want to I don't know. Some people like working on cars or shooting if you get the ammo. Whatever it is that pulls you away from that thing for just a minute. Let you. I mean, like I said, we could be yoga, it could be, whatever works for you. Okay, it doesn't necessarily mean like so you got to go on this big elaborate vacation. You got to do all this stuff or whatever. It could just be you taking a minute and pulling back and unplugging for that second, just breathing and just get yourself right. Because if just like what I said, we're taught in the military, if you go down, right, you're no help to your squad, right? You're not going to be able to get your squad out of a jam if you're down. Okay, so you gotta make sure that you're right. You know what I'm saying? You see that smoke, you better put your gas mask on first, because you're not gonna be able to help them if you don't put your gas mask on. It's the same thing, man. So, and like I said, this thing's real. I mean, there's even like physical symptoms. You know what I mean? You get like you're always edgy. You know what I mean? You're always you're just kind of snapping and doing what I mean. You're getting headaches. You might have some sleep problems, or you're always tired all the time. For us in the military, we call that Tuesday. Or you're just used to it. Okay, it's another duty day. Let's just drive on. But again, if you're thinking long game, if you're thinking, hey, I want to be doing this, 20 years from now, you're gonna have to factor in, and it's just kind of like when you plan your day. Okay, at this point I'm gonna do maybe some admin. At this point I'm gonna make calls. At this point I'm gonna do my follow-ups. At this point I'm set my calendar for tomorrow. Okay, great. Again, go back to the Fail Big series and everything. It's like, hey, have your goals. Okay, that's cool. You got to factor in, and if, like I said, maybe if you're single, of course you got to do it on your own. Again, you don't have to necessarily have this big elaborate vacation. You just got to say, okay, from this day, I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to just go shooting, or I'm going to go fishing, or whatever. Or if you're married with kids, like I am, okay, check in with the spouse. Okay, babe, what are we doing? Like, okay, well, what do you want to do? You know me. I'm not thinking, So she does. She plans everything. So I just go with it. She just tells me, okay, we're taking this date to this date. Okay, cool. Factor that in. However you got to get there, just make sure that you're actually getting there. Because burnout's real, man. And again, if you're burnt out, you're not going to perform right. You're not going to treat your customers right. You're not going to make your deadlines. You know what I mean? If you do, it's going to be a grind, and you're like, what the fuck am I doing this for? You know what I mean? So you're not, the joy is going to be out of it and everything like that. So I just want everybody to understand that this thing's real, and just you gotta, if you're gonna be doing this for sustaining this and doing this for this foreseeable future, you got to factor these things in, man. It's something you're gonna have to put it on a calendar. You're gonna have to make it a hard deadline. Like, this must be done, because if I don't, like I said, things are gonna start shutting down. Your body's gonna start shutting down. Like I said, you're gonna get all these headaches, and it's you're not fighting through that. I had to get that Lifers juice in there. That's what's gonna keep me going. So, taking the trip up there to Sedona, playing in the snow, seeing those. If you guys have never been to Sedona, Arizona, man, I'm telling you, Flagstaff and Sedona, like I said, some people, if you haven't been to Arizona, you're thinking it's all desert and cactus and all that shit, which a lot of it is. You're like, okay, I don't want to see any more fucking desert. Been there, done that. But if you go up in the high country there in Arizona, it's it's kind of like going to Northern California. I mean, there's pine trees, there's grass. There's there's snow. There's rain. There's 4 seasons. Believe it or not, in Arizona we have 4 seasons, just way up north. Um, so you go up there, man. Again, when I was 30, I didn't appreciate shit. I was just like, saw the ocean. Yeah, it's cool. Let's move on. Okay, I've seen it. Let's roll. You know, you don't appreciate it, but take a minute. Like I said, for me, like I said again, I'm a Christian guy, so um, I thank God for everything. I just kind of took a moment. I was sitting up there on the porch, drinking a cup of coffee. I'm watching the sunrise up against those mountains, those red mountains, and all the colors from. It's like, wow. It was just so brilliant. You know what I mean? It's just like you just really like me. Like I said, I'm not preaching anybody here, but me myself, believing a believer in Jesus Christ, I was just so appreciative of just seeing that. Like, wow, just taking it all in, just breathing the fresh, clean air. Okay, like again, growing up in Connecticut, right next to the Bronx, New Jersey is right down the street. Fresh air is not everyday thing. But I've been out here in Arizona for like 25 years now, right? And even in Arizona in the valley, it's always dust bowl and pollution and shit. You get up there, man, the air is so clean, it's crisp, it's like, and especially like I said, it was cold, what I'm saying? And I don't know if it's the altitude, but that 32 degrees or that 29 degrees up there was not, it just seemed like it was colder in the valley. I don't know why. Like I said, it was just weird. Like I was walking around in a t-shirt, had a little thermal shirt on and a t-shirt and playing in the snow like it was wasn't cold like whatsoever, right? Where I come down here sometimes, it's like, okay, it's getting a little chilly out. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if it's altitude. I have to look into that, but it was really strange. And I'm like, it's like 30 degrees out. I'm like, not remotely. Of course, the wind wasn't blowing. If the wind's blowing, yeah, it'll cut you in half. I mean, I don't care where you are. The wind starts blowing at that temperature, you're cold. But I remember, hell, even being like Fort Irwin, Illinois, just like it's just colder than shit, right? And yeah, for some reason it just wasn't as cold there, but it was 30 degrees or 32 degrees. But just again, this the snow and taking it all in, and just the brilliant colors and if you get to see something like that, take a minute to do it. Do yourself a favor, even if like say if you're single or whatever, take a minute. If again, I don't know where you live, what state you're in, but I'm sure that's the thing about the United States. It's amazing, right? You can go drive a certain direction, and before you know it, you're out of your day to day. You're somewhere like my kids are like, I can't even believe we're still in Arizona. It's like a different state. you know, they thought they were somewhere like they were thinking it's like Colorado or something. Like, no, this is still Arizona. you know. And probably so somewhere in your state, there's probably like some really great, beautiful thing. I mean, like I said, even if you're, you're in the Bronx, right? And you drive upstate, or like I said, you go down south a little bit. You can see some really nice stuff. You go out to the shore, or whatever. We get to see some really nice stuff. You don't appreciate it. Maybe when you're a kid, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you're about the hustle and the grind and the life and stuff. You know what I'm saying? You don't think about these kind of things. But if you're how you say, a little bit more mature now, and you drive a couple hours, you get out of the city, you know what I'm saying, you go up north, you're like, oh my God, like this place is actually really beautiful. It's not, it's the cesspool that, well, it's just where I grew up. But maybe you live in a really nice part. Maybe you do live in Greenwich, okay, Connecticut, congratulations. But I didn't grow up there. So take a minute to do a little research, where I'm sure there's every state's got their thing, you know what I'm saying, to where you're thinking North Dakota, oh my God, it's freezing, it's cold up here or whatever, and you go see Mount Rushmore or something, what I mean, my wife, she's been living here her whole life. I'm not gonna say how old she is, she'll kick my ass, but she's been living here her whole life, and she never went to the Grand Canyon until her and I decided we're gonna go to the Grand Canyon, and now we've been there a few times, and it's like, and again, even when we were driving down 89 coming from Flagstaff going back to Sedona, and there was this cool part, and it was just awesome. Like, kind of like driving, it was like sunny or whatever, but then we took this one corner, right? It was going on a twisty turny thing, and it got dark because there was like this canopy of like trees, right? And they were all covered in snow, so it got like darker in there. but it was still light, but it had this cool kind of like effect, and it was, it's like you're driving, like it just seeing these snow covered trees and all the snow on the ground, and and oh, dude, it was unbelievable. So that's the thing, and she's like, I've been living here my whole life. I've never had, like, it never, even she said, she goes, I was a kid, or I was younger, she was a, younger age. Like, I take a weekend. She's like, I go to Vegas, go party at the club. She's like, she goes, this is like just a great little weekend we just had, and we just drive around in the snow. You don't take these things in when you're younger, So like I said, I'm just reflecting back, just being a little older and appreciating stuff. But maybe to younger cats out there that are listening, even if you're not a business owner, even if you're still working a job, but you're planning on starting a business, or you're a younger business owner, yeah, you definitely got to hustle. You definitely got to grind. You definitely got to be 24/7. So maybe you can't afford to take even the weekend off. Okay, find that thing that you can do, whether it's an hour, whether it's a couple hours, even a day. The business is going to shut down if you're out there a day. You know what I mean? If it does, then there's some other problems. But take a day, man. Take a minute. Just whatever that looks like for you. I don't know what that's going to be like. I said, you might want to do some art. You might want to maybe you want to work on some projects. I know, even sometimes, like I said, I'll have a list that has nothing to do with like work or the podcast or anything. I just do stuff around the house. I got a checklist. Okay, I want to clean the garage. I want to organize this. I want to, get the, and I get done with my checklist, and I feel that sense of like, oh yeah, okay, I can breathe now. I've been wanting to, do this in the garage for so long. Organize this or do this or whatever. You get that done. You're kind of, it had nothing to do. That's all I do is just put my, big speaker on. Hit the Apple Music and just zone out. Just in my, everybody just knows, okay, let him do his thing. Give him his time. I don't care if it's outside, landscaping or something. Just I got this thing. I got a list. My wife knows. She'll drop me a honey-do list in a heartbeat. But there's a certain time I'll tell her, okay, I got a list of things I want to do. She will not. She'll just say, okay, do it. She won't add to it. She won't do it because she knows, okay, I got to get these things done. That way I know I can be focused. Okay, so make sure you tell your significant others that too. Hey, I have this list of things that I need to get done. Okay, I need to get this done. Don't just let me do my thing. So you got to have those boundaries, I guess, or whatever set up. But make sure you're taking that time. This is important. This is not like I said, we're in the military. We're younger. Like, okay, mission first, drive on, blah blah blah. Okay, that's cool, and it's definitely going to help when you're a business owner, for sure. But at the same time, make sure you're factoring that in. Okay, the Army cannot march 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. We got to stop. We got to rest. We got to eat. We got to reload. We got to do what we got to do. Okay, and maybe a short little minute. What I'm saying? You may just be sitting back on your ruck. Close your eyes for 5 minutes. Okay. Open your eyes back up. Okay, I'm good to go. We've been there, right? Done that. And maybe just that. So just take that minute, take that pause, breathe, get centered, whatever that is, whatever that looks like, whatever you got to do. Like I said, if you can't afford to take a week off, just take a day, take an hour, plan an hour. You know what I'm saying? Go do something completely unrelated that gets you right and make it happen. Okay, burnout's real. Fatigue is real, and if you're burnt out, you're really not going to be any good to anybody. So, factor that in. It's real, and that's what we do here. Here's the deal. It's real talk. That's what we do. Now, at the close of the show, as usual, I'm going to give all praise to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. That's who I believe in. Gave me a great weekend, great time with the wife and kids. We all had fun. It was, gives me ability to do, this podcast. Gotta thank my wife and kids for supporting me and everything that we do here. Always gonna give a shout out to my boy Mario at Fallen 360. And I just want to tell you guys, okay, as I always say, stay tuned, stay focused, stay motivated, okay. But staying motivated doesn't mean you're in the red 24/7. So factor that in. I'm out.